problems aren't that big, bro. Trust me. If you're watching this like a 17-year-old kid speak on your screen right now, you are so blessed beyond your imagination. And I know you've heard that a million times, but when has it ever really like clicked in your mind how blessed you actually are? Because so many people have told me to be grateful for what I have. Look where I live, bro. I live in like I live in that building. Look, it looks so cool. It's like fancy and everything. My mom worked so hard for me to live in a place like this. I literally have like peace and quiet in like my lobby, bro. I'm so blessed. And people tell me to be like grateful. Thank God for what you have every day. But what do? Nothing. I'm like, man, yeah, this is just life. This is just life. It's how I've ever known it. That doesn't mean you can't be thankful for it. A lot of times we need to be grateful for things that we already have, but we don't start appreciating it and being grateful for something until we lose it. Because when we lose it and long for it, that pain pushes us to gratitude. But you don't have to feel pain to start to be grateful for something. And I just want to put that forward first, because when you lack gratitude for something, you really fail to see its value. Like, man, you really fail to see its value for what it's really worth. Like my mom, I take her for granted, but if she were gone, I don't know what I'd do. She makes me dinner every day. I don't know what I'd do without her. I wouldn't be here without her. So, but I just take her for granted. I'm like, oh yeah, my mom will be home like maybe like 7 p.m. tonight, or like my mom will wake up at 10 p.m. like, or 10 a.m. or whatever. She's always at home. Like she'll be here. Like I always take her for granted. I just want to put that out there first because I think that's so important. Another thing is, your problems are not that big, and they're also not your problems. Okay, let me break it down for you. Do you ever remember a time when you were in school and you're doing like math homework, and then like the entire class is doing math homework, right? And then you're just writing on a question and you get stuck on one question and you just read it over and over again, but you don't really understand it. But then at the opposite side of the classroom, you hear like one person ask the teacher, hey teacher, like I have this exact question that you're struggling with, and then like you just eavesdrop and then you get the answer because I don't know why, maybe it's just me, but that's happened to me like millions of times, or like thousands of times, hundreds of times, whatever, you know, I'm exaggerating, but you get what I'm saying. It's happened to me so much. It's just like in anything that I do, there's always someone in the exact situation as you, struggling with the exact same thing as you at the exact same time as you. So the problems that you face really aren't the problems that you alone are facing. You know, it's so easy to think that, man, everything that I'm struggling with, it's just me, man. No one can possibly understand what I'm going through. Because the earth is so big, and there's so many people. There's 8 billion people on earth. There's no way in hell that I can possibly be struggling with the same thing as someone else, right? Wrong. And so, no matter how many times I've told myself that, it hasn't ever sunk in. Which is kind of crazy. Because it's possible to know something and not really have it sink in. And then you just never really use it in your own life. But the way that I've used this is, if I'm struggling with something, then you are probably too, because I'm not special, you're not special, you're not a special little snowflake, you're not a special little snowflake. We're all struggling with the same thing, and that's a blessing because I get to help you with it, you get to help me with it, and we get to understand each other. I think that's wholesome. I think that's pretty good. Wouldn't trade it for anything else. And when I got that kind of like awareness, it made me feel like, man, I really have an obligation to like teach what I've learned, because I'm not the only one. There's thousands, maybe even millions or billions of people struggling with what I'm struggling with. And so if I can figure out like a little thing that can help someone else, it can help millions of people. Isn't that crazy? Just like one little thing that I figure out can help millions of people, because I'm not special and I'm struggling with the same thing as everyone. And everyone's struggling with the same thing as me, right? We've all relatively been raised in the same conditions. If you're blessed enough to see this, we've been raised in the same conditions, relatively. If you can understand what I'm saying right now, if you can speak English, bro, that's such a blessing. And that's such a blessing that you get to learn from like these incredible people on this internet thing that we're using. And you get to like listen to me, a 17-year-old that has nothing figured out, yap on your phone or your laptop or your TV or whatever. And so, yeah, just be grateful for that. Like, just really be grateful for that. Like, literally. Like, sit down, okay? Sit down and just take a deep breath. Wow. Just really take it in. Because you haven't taken it in. And neither have I. But when you really realize how blessed you are, it's really hard to feel sad. It's really hard. And whenever you feel down, like I always do, you just gotta bring yourself back to that. to what's really important to you. It's a lot simpler than you think. Life is a lot simpler than we think a lot of times. I don't know. I'm 17. I have no taxes to pay, but I can say that, okay? I can say that for certain. Life is a lot simpler than we make it, or that we need to make it. Because a lot of the times when we're suffering from something, struggling with something, we view something as this terrible tragedy that's happening. I failed my math test, guys. Or I failed my exam. Or I just got 50 years in prison. The world before and after you get 50 years sentenced to jail, it's the same. I'm joking though. Well, it is the same, but you get what I'm saying. Bring yourself to perspective, right? A lot of times, it's just about how we perceive things. I'm getting 50% on my math test, or 40%, and I failed my math test. Well, is it the end of the world? No. Should I have done better? Probably. Could I have studied harder? Yeah. Does it affect who I am as a person? Because that's what it feels like. Does it make me a bad person? Because that's what it feels like. Does it make me worth less? Or does it dictate my future? Because that's what it feels like. That's emotionally what I feel like, but logically, does it really? I don't know, maybe, if you let it dictate you. But it doesn't have to be. Crap. It doesn't have to be. Nothing ever has to be anything unless you make it so. You don't have to give up on anything unless you decide to. Your dreams don't have to change unless you change them. The person that you are, the trajectory of your life doesn't have to change or recourse or redirect itself unless you dictate it so. And so when you really realize the power that you actually have over your life, no one's forcing you to go to school or work or anywhere or say this or say that or eat this or eat that or sleep at this time. You are the captain of your ship, but you don't even realize it because you're cruising on autopilot. Why? Because we're not even aware. When you become aware of how much control you really have, it starts to become kind of scary because it's damn, I'm in control. I don't know how to steer this thing. But then at the same time, you realize it's kind of a liberating experience because you get to dictate the trajectory of your life from now on. Tomorrow is the first day of the rest of your life. That's a bar. You should remember that. And you should remember to subscribe to this channel because I'm a 17-year-old trying to figure out life. And if you want to hear more from me, subscribe. It's a win-win for both of us. And I have a free Telegram, by the way. It's useful advice or ideas that I get throughout the day, thoughts, little lessons that I pick up. It's a little journal for me, and if you want to hear more from me, it's just a free, useful thing that I think you'll find pretty interesting. First link in the description, you should click that too. I want to see you in there. I also want to see you win. So get to work, chase your fears, and stop running from them, because if you run from them, you'll always live with regret. Get after it.